Again, welcome to Cannafrica Training Academy. This is session 2. This is going to be standard operating procedures. This is part 1 of 3 sessions. We're recording this. This will be content for our upcoming YouTube channel. So good afternoon. Welcome to part 3, standard operating procedures. So the start of day procedure, we take a stock count of all of the stock. We check the cash draw and write down the cash float amount. So this is going to be your starting point, and just so that we can make sure that your cash ups are accurate. Then we display products accordingly. I've mentioned it numerous times that people eat with their eyes. So please make sure that the displays, that all of the labels are front facing and that everything is in alignment and looks attractive for our consumers. Step 1 of the point of sale for all of those at the kiosks. What we do there is we set up the monitor and hard drive and the printer. We connect the monitor, the printer, and the scanner to the hard drive box. Switch on the system, ensuring that everything is connected properly. Ensure that the LAN cable is connected, and then we log into the system. We open up the point of sale printer setup and then check which port the printer is plugged into. We open up the remote desktop. If connected to the internet, this will open. If it's not, then you need to check your internet connection.
Sorry, Mr. Greenstreet, can I step in there just on that point? That step there, open up the POS printer setup, that'll only need to be done when initially installing the point of sale system. So that's just a step that gets done once, and then once it's done, it doesn't have to be repeated.
Okay, thanks. Excellent. Thank you for that. So then, so that's the printer setup. Then obviously we need to check whether or not we're connected to the internet. Once connected, we open up the IQ Enterprise. We open up the IQ Enterprise and we log into the IQ Enterprise with your designated login details. And then step 2 of the IQ Enterprise is that we open up the end of day tab and then ensure that all the tabs have the same day, and that would be the current date. Once you've completed those procedures, you're ready to commence your trading for the day. And then with this system, the end of day procedures, we open up the point of sale back office. We select the point of sale reports. We ensure the X terminal is selected and we have selected the correct date. We print that receipt. That receipt is something that, that we need to keep hold of. And then we file and send copies to admin. The next step is the cash up of the cash draw, making sure that you leave the X amount for the cash float. You record the amount of cash and deposit into the ATM, and then you request a receipt from that deposit that will be filed.
Oh, for fuck's sake, how fast do you think people tap?
I beg your pardon? Huh. Okay. Close of day procedures. We take a stock count and write that down, and then we either file that or email it. We pack away all of the stock and the point of sale system. We cash up make sure that the cash up draw is suitably packed away, and then we file those receipts. Problems that may be encountered. So this is a little bit of troubleshooting. Problem might be that the printer's not working. So we check the USB port on the point of sale printer and test which port the printer is connected to. If it doesn't recognize an item, so if item's not recognized on the system, we make a note and write a manual invoice. We make a note and write a manual invoice in the invoice book and note the product. If there's a wrong price issue, we make a note and write a manual invoice of the selected product. And so what we're getting here is going to be a repeat. So we have the point of sale system, but because of load shedding and the likes, we have a manual description of every product that is sold as a backup, so that at any given time, we know at any stage of the day what the sales are of which products, so that load shedding doesn't interfere with the upkeep of what we're doing. And so if there's no internet signal, we often find that the best route there is to unplug everything and make sure that the LAN cable is connected and then replug everything back in again. Printer troubleshooting. What we do here is we open up the point of sale printer, test all of the ports, and when it recognizes that specific port that works, open up the IQ Enterprise, log in using your prescribed details, open up the point of sale back office, go to hardware and connections, ensure the port that you've checked is the port that is connected. And if not, change the port on the IQ Enterprise terminal. Then you run a printer test in the back office. If it still doesn't work, repeat the process and ensure that the correct port is connected and the correct port is selected. So it's always going to be these troubleshoots. So please make sure that you read through these SOPs when you do encounter these problems, and then we'll easily be able to find the solutions. But as I mentioned, please make sure that there's always a manual representation of all of sales, so that if we do have load shedding, we always have something that we can refer to. Then the standard operating procedure of the biodata sign-up process. Step 1 is access to the biodata register, which is a shared Google Sheet document. In order to do this, you will open up your web browser, you search Google Docs, and you log in using the login details that you have that pertain to your outlet. And then from there, you open up Google Sheets. Step 2 is the biodata registration process on the Excel spreadsheet. And any of the following THC products sold, edibles, pre-rolls, gummies, flour, anything that contains THC needs to be captured on the bio.
Okay, James is
Sorry,
back.
guys, I've lost you all there. I'm not too sure what happened. I can only assume that the wizards are at it. But I'd like to continue. There's quite a bit that we need to get through here. I want to share my screen with you, and then we will continue. I'm going to start step 2. I'm going to start step 2 of the biodata registration process again. And so if any THC products are sold, whether they be edibles, pre-rolls, gummies, flour, then that sale needs to be recorded onto the Excel spreadsheet. This has to happen without fail. We need the full history of any sale to any consumer. And so the staff member on duty must capture the respective details onto this Excel spreadsheet. The staff member must specify exactly what product was sold to which specific customer. And once the staff member has captured the patient's details, the customer must sign an informed consent form. And this will happen on the first sale only. Once signed, the staff member must file that signed form. At the close of day, staff members must count the number of consent forms that have been populated and ensure that they match the amount of new registered patients. So this must be done at the end of every day. Every day we need to have that correlation of the informed consent forms and the products that those people have purchased from us. The number of new patients registered should be communicated on the respective WhatsApp group or whichever form of communication it is that you're using with head office at that time. And so additional information here on the informed consent is that we must have a minimum of 25 informed consent forms on hand at any given time. These are blank forms so that we know that we're not going to be caught without having any forms. If there are no forms, then the staff must use petty cash to print more informed consent forms. The staff must record how much petty cash they are using for the printing of these consent forms, and the staff must ensure that every new patient is registered and have signed an informed consent form. Thereafter, returning customers can make purchases. They must be captured on the same spreadsheet to create a patient history and record of said customers' ongoing purchases. So the first time somebody comes to join us to purchase our products, they're gonna sign our informed consent. Then every time that person returns to our retail outlet, we bring up that consumer's details and we make a note of which products have been purchased on that particular visit. I just want to go through two more, and then I'm going to hand over to Junior. Unfortunately, my time has run short, but like I mentioned, this is part 1 of 3. I'm going to continue with our dress code. Our staff are required to wear black clothing, black trousers, black shirt. Guys, if possible, we obviously prefer a collared shirt. We say here shoes are preferably white. We understand retail. Retail, you're on your feet for a long time, so they can be comfortable shoes as long as they are smart. They don't have to be smart leather, but they need to be, obviously I need you to have the comfort, but we also need to have the optic of looking good at what we do. Bringing me to the next point of staff rosters. Staff are required to submit their staff roster for the following month by the 25th of the previous month, i.e. if the staff roster is for September 2022, that should be sent in by the latest the 23rd of August 2022. And then staff will receive their wages monthly on the last working day of the month. We only have a short period of time left, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to hand you over to Junior, and he's going to be able to take you through from here. So like I mentioned, this is session 1 of 3, and we'll continue this on next Thursday. Okay.
Cool. Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Can you guys hear me? Take that as a yes.
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
lovely. Mr. Greenstreet, can I ask you to stop sharing your screen, please? Thank you. Let's share my... Mr. Greenstreet, can you enable me to share my screen, please, from your end? It says the host has disabled screen sharing. Okay, well, James is working on that. So what I'm going to be taking you through now, I'll share my screen once I get that acceptance from James. What I'm going to be working with is sort of, we want to track more in depth a lot of different measurables that we've started. So we've developed a criteria of measurables that we want to sort of track just in terms of store performance standards, popular products, conversion rate, customer traffic, and so forth. So once I do share my screen with you guys, I'll take you over a couple of the measurables that we are looking for and the process. So I'll be sharing a template. It'll be an Excel spreadsheet, and it's basically just a template that takes you through capturing certain sort of background data that we can use that can help us better understand our customers, our markets, and engage with them on a better level. So from that, a couple of the measurables, I see James isn't winning at the moment. So a couple of the measurables that we are looking for is foot traffic. So what we're gonna have is a
Junior, you're
template
good to go.
on an
You can share screen.
Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you have a look at this document, this is going to be a couple of the measurables that we're going to be looking at capturing now going forward. So in terms of foot traffic, on the document that I'm going to share with you, it's pretty simple. A customer walks into the store, he comes to the kiosk, we'll write a line, and there'll be a column on an Excel spreadsheet to tick that the customer came in, and then there'll be another column that says yes or no, and this will depend on whether the customer purchased something or not. So that's just to help us measure our conversion rate from customer engagement to sale. So that covers the conversion rate as well. What I would also like when you do submit your reports at the end of business, it's a fairly simple procedure, is to take the amount of sales that you've made today and just divide it by, or divide the total amount of sales divided by the amount of sales for the day, total amount of sales for the day. And that'll give me an average transaction amount, so we can sort of gauge what customers are spending on an average basis. With that as well, average amount of daily transactions. So that'll be measured weekly by me. I'll be doing weekly reports, weekly check-ins with all of the store managers, call it, or the person who's got the more senior role at the store or the kiosk. So this will happen every Sunday close of business. Just a quick 15-minute phone call as to tell me sort of what questions were asked this week about some of the products, what were your more popular products, what are customers looking for that we don't have, and sort of that, just to sort of get an idea and a feel point of what our customers really do want and what they show most interest in. That goes to my next point, product interest. So this will all be on a template that I'll share to you guys by close of business tomorrow. So product interest, THC, CBD. Did the customer come in specifically asking for THC? If it was THC, what was it? Was it pre-rolls, edibles, flower? And the same goes for the CBD product. What are the more popular? We've got a wide variety of CBD products in our stores. So what are the more popular ones? What are people more interested about and more excited about? Also, that ties in again with consumer preferences as well. Move down to the most popular products and strains. I think this is very crucial for us from the research that I've gathered, is customers come in and they're asking for strains by name. So if we can get an idea of what the most popular strains are, what's moving fast, what are the slower moving strains, then we can create some strategies and sort of campaigns around creating specials or promos for those products or those strains. Busiest day. To each store. the KPIs, I'll dive directly into that with each manager on shift at the time, and I'll go through those, what we want those targets to be in terms of our franchisees. That checkbox type of concept in terms of measuring all those measurables. And again, that gives us the historical data that we need to see where we are falling short, why we aren't reaching certain weekly targets, certain monthly targets. Is it a stock issue? Is it a customer? Is it a product knowledge issue, which we will be having additional product training on? And just before I go, I think everybody has received their live rosin vapes now. So I think the live rosin is our flagship product. We own the full value chain of that product. So it's very important that we push that amongst all of our stores. We engage with customers. We have the product knowledge about it, so that when customers come in and ask what vape devices you have, live rosin is our go-to. It's our flagship product. But again, we will be getting in a lot more vape devices, new strains coming in. And like I said, I'll go through that with each store individually on a personal level.
Junior,